And can you limit your movement, please? Kita kung get it, عشان كده معمول إزعاج. وباب الورا ده يا جماعة عشان المحل ده يكون بارد. All protocols observed. I am honored to be your MC today. My name is Dr. Akwada Chol Yedut. I am based in Dallas, Texas, and I came visiting. When I was told about this important conference by Madame Aisha, I said I will do the presentation because I believe in women, and women are the backbone of our community. Women are helpers, as you might know. Women are mothers. Women are resilient. Women are powerful. A woman, as you will hear, the country, they say, motherland. You've never heard it say fatherland, right? Am I right? And as you also know, women play an important role. We nowadays have women presidents. We have women vice presidents, like Mama Nyandeng in Sudan, South Sudan to be correct. And we have important women in our room. We have chiefs, like Mama Mary. We also have women chairpersons from board. We have Mama Sarah, who has been the women leader, Mama Sarah James Ajit, for a very long time. We also have Mama Dominica Ikai. She also plays a very great role. We have from the Women Chamber of Commerce, Madame Abuk is here, and we have people who have worked for over 20 years. You have Anne Michael, who's sitting right here. Please turn your phones off. And we have all the others of you who are in the room. And I believe each one of you have a role to play in this conference. This conference is on increasing civic engagement between the grassroots and the national civil society leaders on gender and equality, or gender equality as one would say. مشاركة المدنية بين الجمعيات الشعبية وقاعدة المجتمع المدني الوطن مشان المساواة بين الجنسين. كويس؟ يعني احنا عايزين الناس في المستوى ناشونال، الشعب الوطني هنا يكونوا مع الناس الفقراء في المحلات الثانية. عشان كده احنا جبنا ناس من ولايات زي ماما ميري، زي أجنس من ولاية بتاعت يي هيجات، ومن ناس ملكان، عندنا ناس من أويل، عندنا الأخوة بكون، وعندنا برضو honorable in the back برضو يات عشان تجي تحضر a conference. This conference is very important because we, the South Sudanese Women Intellectual Group, believe in unity. We believe that we want to take deep part in the building of South Sudan. We want to live in cohesiveness. We don't want tribalism to rule us. We want our country to be a stronger country. And how can it be a stronger country? By empowering each other. The women believe that if I empower my sister, she will be somebody in the future. And as in this room, there are so many people with different organizations and who are playing a major role in our community. Without further ado, yesterday we had talked about group presentation. And we are going to start with group 1, which will be KG, which is group 1. And then it will be followed by the states, that is Christina. And then we'll have Ronnie, that's group 3, who will do the presentation. So please welcome me in welcoming KG, who's going to do the presentation of the group. They had a group discussion, and she will tell us what all did they come out with. Welcome. And as you can see, she's wearing South Sudan in her neck. So she's carrying it. She is a proud South Sudanese. And yesterday we said our tribe is South Sudan, right? And she's wearing a medallic outfit. Very proud of you.
Morning once again. I'm called KG Viola. I'm from Central Equatoria. My tribe, I'm a Pojulu, but I'm married to a Kakwa. The Mundaris were all Bari speakers, so that's why I'm like this. Yes. Thank you so much. I think this is group 1, but I missed out some members who I couldn't reach them, like my sister. We were 9 in number, yes. And we came up with this, like, let me go through one of the questions, and then after we can answer. So I'll go through what we have. If there is any addition, then the group members will come and support. Thank you. Our question number 1. Can I read the instructions for the group work, or I can just go straight to the question?
What did you come up with?
Okay, question number 1 asked, what are some of the major achievements that the civil society organizations have achieved during the national grassroots level, especially on women-related agenda? So as group 1 members, we came up with this, like, the women participated a lot in advocacy. So we mentioned through advocacy, these are some of the activities that the women did, the achievements that the women achieved. Number 1, women were included in the peace talks and observations. As you can see during the peace talks, most of our women were involved, like the women rights organizations, the women from the grassroots, they were all involved during the peace talks, and they did a marvelous work. Lot for gender advisor in the peace process. Yes. More women were included in the parliament. Right now, as we can see, at least the number of women in the parliament has raised. And these women are really doing great. And some of them, like when we have events like this, they do come and they attend, they participate with us. And we really see that these women are doing good. And it was not only one person, but many women rights organizations and from the grassroots, they came together. And that's why they are like that. They are really representing us very well, and we are proud of that. Women participated in the constitution making process. Yes, this one has most of us witnessed. Mama even was there. Like when they are making the constitution, like during the process, most of the women views were also taken. The 35% affirmative action have been granted. Yes, that one is explanatory. Establishment of the GPP court. Right now, as women, we do have our GPP court, which is only handling women problems, women that are going through gender-based violence. Most of their problems are handled in the GPP court, and this one is really helping the women. And these are some of the achievements that, as women, we have made through this process. Drafting validation of the GPP bill, which is still ongoing. Lobby by the women to rectify Maputo Protocol As South Sudan, we know that we have not ratified the Maputo Protocol, but as women, we really struggling hard because we know the importance of the Maputo Protocol to the women of Africa and to us, the women of South Sudan. So we believe if this protocol is ratified, it will really help us a lot, and it will help us during like the cases of GBV, that gender-based violence that we're having at least, it will stand for us. So right now we are still doing a follow-up, like the young women, we have a group, the Young Women for Advocacy, Communication, Accountability, YWCA. We are really working so much, a lot, together with Equality Now in Nairobi. They are supporting the young women, empowering us on the ratification of this protocol. What should we do? They are really training us on what we should do on this and how should it be implemented. So these are the achievements, at least young women like us, we know, before we did not know about the Maputo Protocol, but now we have a view about it and we know its importance if it's ratified. More girls are granted education. As we can see in South Sudan, most of the girls now, at least, we do not have that culture of saying like girls do not go to school, but a lot of girls now going to school. This is because the women came out and spoke about it from the national and the grassroots. So we all know now the importance of education to our youth. Next. Through awareness, GBV prevention measures by the women rights organizations, as we know, a lot of these young women rights organizations are doing a lot in the prevention of GBVs through awareness, through trainings, and through a lot. Mothers and child health, roles of women in peace building, importance of girl child education, some of them I talked about, impact of early and forced child marriage. Yes, this is what most of the women are also advocating for. Legal presentation services to women. The women did awareness to some of the women in the rural areas on, some of them do not know that they are legal workers that do support women that go through GPV for free. So these are some of the awareness that we created to them so that they know their legal process, that sometimes if you have a case and you go approach the lawyers, they can help you and you go through these cases for free. They will not ask for any money. Women rights, looking at the Bill of Rights for Women in the Constitution making Chapter 2. Some of the things I said before. Thank you. Next. Question number 2. What has been the major reason why there has been a disconnect between the National Civic Society Organization and the Grassroots Civic Society Organization? Major reasons, we said, no direct or platform to connect. Like in most cases, we can find that the national. The partners in the national level, sometimes they do not connect with the ones in the grassroots. Like they work separate. That one can do their own activities and we here we can do our own activities. We don't come together and we agree on what to do at what location. So sometimes that's why you find like we here in the national, we can go back to the grassroots and implement the same activities that those in the grassroots have already done. So we do not have that connection. Another lack of finances, yes, mostly like in the grassroots, there is no, some of them do not have access to fundings that are enough. So it makes it difficult for them also to implement projects or to reach to us who are in the national level. Lack of coordination, the coordination is not there, which is like connection, I think that's one it can come. Accessibility, lack of communication for infrastructures. In some of the grassroots, like some of the rural areas or in the villages, it's difficult for these national organizations to reach there, to connect with those ones who are in the grassroots. You find the roads are bad, or you find sometimes there are no roads. There's a location where we went to. For sure, there are places that with the national partners we have seen, but there are others that we have not reached there. And it will take you time. For example, a place in Terkeka called Tombek, that one will take you 5 hours or 4 hours to reach there, but there's no road. So it's really difficult for some of these national partners to connect with those ones in the grassroots or with the partners there. So this is some of the things. Lack of transparency. You find we don't want to share information among ourselves. We are selfish. It's like there is competition among us, the partners. So it's difficult for us to connect with those ones in the grassroots, so that those ones who are there, when they find out that there's an organization here in the national level doing some activity and they're doing the same, so they will feel afraid to share it because they will believe that this one will go there and overtake them. So this is one of the challenges. This is one of the things that is disconnecting us from them. Conflict of interest, yes. Like we want to feel like it's almost the same. Insecurity, it's a general thing that we have seen as partners who are working in national grassroots. There are a lot of places that we cannot access because of this insecurity, which will lead to death of the partners or whatsoever. There are a lot of things there. How can we increase civic engagement between the national grassroots society? Yes, how to increase? What do you think? How should we increase? Doing proper mapping, like in proper mapping, looking at the organization plus their areas of operation. We need to know in every location, like for example, the nationals, we know all the partners that are operating at the national level and what activities are they doing in which areas. And also in the grassroots there, they need to know what are the organizations there and what are they doing. So that it's easy for us to connect. When we know this organization is doing child protection in a specific area angle of it, you go there, at least you connect. That will all implement and will share it, but it will make things easier for us. But if we don't connect, it is really difficult. Creating platforms for each access and connections. For easy access and connection. And we need to create the platforms. Like right now, the women-led organization, it's really easy for the women to connect. Those who are in the grassroots, they can easily connect through this platform. Sharing contacts, yes, we need to have contacts with those ones, the partners in the grassroots, so that's for easy communication. Increase access to funding, yes. Increase access to funding, this one is in the national and grassroots is really difficult. For example, if we have, like you find a partner in the grassroots is only having 5,000 USD and she has to implement a project of maybe 2 years or 1 year. It's really difficult for that partner to implement that project. And on gender-based violence, response and whatsoever. So we really need the increase of funding so that we can connect and implement more projects. Transparency, yes, we need to be transparent to each other. Advocacy and activism. Next. How can we strengthen cooperation between the grassroots and the national civil society organization? To us, we saw like question number 4 is a bit connected to question number 3. It's like it's similar, just capacity building. We capacity build the organization from the grassroots and also the ones in the national. Coordination, we need to coordinate. Trust building, we need to trust each other. It shouldn't be about competition, but it should be about the trust, because we all know that we are working for the same goal as partners. Partnership, yes, we need to partner. For example, if there's an organization here implementing GBV and there's another in the grassroots doing GBV, and you're going to target that same location, yes, you partner. That one will implement and we just share information and we just do reports. It will really be easy for us. Improvement of security through conflict resolution. Yes, our security in the country. need to be improved. Information sharing, we need to share information as partners. If you find a project of maybe Western Equatoria and you're in the central, you share with that partner there. Maybe they can also draft their proposal and they come up with something that is good. Cooperation and networking. Question number 5. Kindly develop a strategy and an action plan. Yes, this is our strategy for group 1. Because in the strategy it's talking about main actions, coordination with other international organizations, donors and key sectors, and the ministries of gender, child, and social welfare. So in our strategy, we put up the strategy, action, activities, time scale, and who is responsible. We came out with 2 strategies. Our strategy number 1, formation of forums. Our action, giving invitations for workshops and meetings. Activities, radio talk shows. We have radio talk shows. The other activity, you can help us delete the discretion and it's off. You can delete it for us. Thank you. And then time scale is 2 months. Who is responsible? The civic society organizations, government. We just put that. Our strategy number 2, create networks, actions, mobilize grassroots civil society organizations through thematic areas. Then our activities like come up with sports, cultural events, and then a period of 3 months, partners, civil society organization, Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, and IRC. This is group 1. I think my group members, if there is something I've not mentioned or there's some addition you can add. Yes?
Thank you so much. Yes, I didn't have a group, but I take this opportunity to talk about something in group 1. I would like to talk about question 3, which is how can we increase engagement between the national grassroots and the grassroots civil societies. One thing that I would like to encourage all of us to do is we need to work in a consortium. It's not very easy now to get funding as an individual, but we have to work in consortium and link with our grassroots organizations. When I talk about working in consortium, how does it work? You can apply for funding as 3 to 4 organizations, and then you look for these grassroots organizations in different parts of the state, and then you network with them. Your work here is to lobby for the funding, and then you use them as implementing partners because they're down there at the grassroots level, and they're the one who knows the society or the community that they come from, and they understand what the community needs. And then your work is to get for them this funding, and then they implement for you in their different state levels. In this way, we will be able to have a strong linkage between the national and the grassroots organization. And then a second thing I would like to mention is also how do we increase this engagement? It has reached to a point whereby it's all about competition. We don't appreciate what the other organization is doing. We want to take the lead. But what we can do as organizations is we need to have alliance on how we coordinate ourselves and move forward, especially the grassroots organization. They can form the alliance, the national can form the alliance, and then they see how they can work hand in hand. For example, it can be like YWC, where I work from, is maybe having a project in Terekeka, and they have never been to Terekeka. They identify an organization in Terekeka and say, okay, our work is for you to implement for us these 1, 2, 3 activities. In this way, we will increase the capacity of working together with organizations at the grassroots level. Thank you.
Thank you for joining our group. Yes, this is really good.
Thank you very much for the chance. My name is Kim. I'm representing the organization for People with Disability Network. Just as he said, I think cooperation is the most important tool to ensure that we have vibrant civil society that is taking on board, the affairs of taking vulnerability affairs very seriously. We have seen a lot of things that are not going well with the work of the civil societies at the grassroots. And I think the best thing, and that is the reason why at some point the donors do not trust the civil societies and community-based organizations. I think we need to strengthen our capacity in terms of transparency and best practices so that we can be trusted. Because I think at the end of the day, the whole thing shall be handed over to us as these international agencies will be going away. And so we need to adopt some best practices to ensure that we are trusted. And then the second thing is alliance, like you say. This is very true. We have seen we duplicate roles, which is not very necessary. Where we feel we need to, which there is a gap, then we think we can ask our colleagues who, at the place where we see there is a gap, then we can work together. And that is what we think as
Thank you. This will be the last question here, and then I will translate it to Arabic.
Thank you very much. The female who talked about the best practices on the engagement of civil society at the grassroots level and the national level. This is really very important. But I need to talk about the issue of funding, like a national civil society getting a funding here in Juba, and then maybe asking a grassroots civil society organization in Eastern Equatoria or Western Equatoria or Jungle to implement it for them. That is a little bit critical and impossible, unless the donor instructs you to do so. Because donors are too restricting, they're restricting every little move of their plan. This is one thing that all of us really need to know. Sometimes we, the civil society at the national level, we dance according to the tune of the donors. They tell you to do this, you have to do it. They tell you don't do this, you don't do it. So what I request of the grassroots civil society organization is to come closer to the national civil society organization, and the national also to go closer to them. They have to be good friends. Nowadays, it's not about trust. It's about who you know. And if you can see all this time, the grassroots civil society are doing perfectly well. They're doing great work, honestly speaking. Let's be honest here. But the issue is connection. Who do I know where? It's not about the concept. You write, honestly speaking, some people write the best concept in this country, but they don't get funding. So it's about who you know. I request you, the civil society at the national level and the grassroots level, to come together and talk about each other. Oh, you need an organization in Nauru. I know of this women rights organization. You need an organization in Wallap. I know of this women rights organization. It's about who you know, your trust. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have mentioned an important point. And we as a community need to educate ourselves as to how do NGOs work. You are given funding because you requested, I am going to do A, B, C, D. And maybe our sister here from the USAID can later on, Shadia, can later on explain one of the leaders or somebody who is well versed as to how organizations work. I worked at IRC and I know, I worked there for 7 years. And a particular funding is for a particular project. لكن you have to understand إنه قروش جابوا ناس شغالين في المكتب ده كل زول عنده نسبة. يعني زي زمان أنا كنت شغال مع أولاد لوس بوي 55% بتاعت ما هي حقي كان بيطلع من الفندنج بتاعت اللوس بوي. باقي الفندنج كان بيطلع من repatriation and resettlement project. وباقي ده بيطلع من grants تانيين الآن المفروض بيشتغل فوقه مثلا زي health لما نوديه مثلا المستشفى ده كله بشيل منه نسبة ونسبة ونسبة. كويس؟ فيا ريت عملنا جوجل كلنا عندنا تليفونات just go and read منظمات ده قاعدين يشتغلوا كيف. then you will educate yourself. لأنه صعب إنه زول يشيل قروش كان جابوه يعمل بوه شغل في جوبا يشيله يوديه في إيه. ما بيقبلوا بحاجة زي ده. ولا يشيله يوديه في واو. فيا ريت الليلة كنت فاهم الكلام ده تشيله. كنت لو أريد أخذ تاني كلام. إنه جماعة دي ما قاعدين ياخذوا قروش. كويس؟ طيب أنا بحاول أترجم. امبارح كان السؤال كان بيقول إنه الحاجات اللي هم عملوها كويس شنو في جراس روت. فمن ضمن الحاجات نساوين بقى كان جزء في السلام زادوا نسبة النساوين من 25 ل 35 بقى دايرين يعملوا محكمة بتاعت gender based violence. العيال بنات بالذات بيقولوا بيقدروا يمشوا المدارس. برضه في توعية للنساوين والبنات الصغار عشان يمشوا المدارس. الزواج اللي بقوة بيبقى في توعية قاعدين يعملوا في حاجات زي ده. ليه في فرق بين الناس اللي في مدينة اللي في جراس روت مثلا؟ ليه في فرق بينهم وبين الناس الهنا؟ فلقوا إنه ما في حاجة بتربطهم وما في تنسيق. برضو المواصلات مثلا عشان أنا أسافر من هنا مثلا في وقت بتاع أمطار أمشي كل المنطقة بتاعت بور بكون صعب لأنه الشارع كله بكون مقفول بكون في الطين. برضو الحالة الأمنية ما قاعد يساعد. ما في ولأنه إحنا نكون واضحين في الشغل اللي إحنا قاعدين نعمله. And I'm going to stress on this point transparency. يا جماعة قروش بشيله زول باكله بدخل في جيبه ما بعمل بيه أي حاجة. وزول ما بقول أنا اشتريت شنو ولا أنا عملت بيه ده ولا أنا عملت بيه كده ما في. فحتى الناس اللي بدون قروش بيبقوا قاعدين يعملوا شنو يجروا نفسهم ورا. وحتى أنتوا سميتوا قريب ده إنه there is دون فتيل. كويس؟ وذاته بقى ما في ثقة. فأنت يا أختي وأنت يا أخوي حاولوا لما يدوك حاجة استخدموا بالطريقة الصح. وري للناس ادوني 50,000 ويا قروش اللي انا استخدمته. ما تمشي تقول انا مشيت اشتريت عربية انا مشيت اشتريت ده. لا انت لما كنت عايز يساعدوك انت كنت عايز تعمل شنو؟ اعمل حاجة اللي كنت اصلا عايز تعملها. كويس؟ سؤال نمرة 3 قالوا كيف يكون في engagement بين الجراس روت والناشونال؟ يكون في محلات معينة الناس تتفق عليه، الناس برضو يشاركوا بعض في مثلا التلفونات ايميل يزيدوا الدعم وبرضو يكون في advocacy والناس يكونوا واضحين. السؤال القبل الأخير هو 4 و3 و4 زي بعض تقريبا. في قالوا إنه عايزين يكون في الحالة الأمنية يتحسن. كويس؟ سؤال نمرة 5 كان خطوا إنه ممكن يعمل شنو الخطة هم ممكن يعملوا يكون شنو. فالخطة هنا كان إنه يدوا دعم يكون في خطة خاطينه ولا أهداف الخاطينه وبرضه الناس تشتغل مع بعض. الليلة لما الأختي تنجح في حاجة هي قاعدة تعمله أنا نجحت. ما تمسك المعلومة وتروح بس لو أنت دسيت المعلومة ده ما هيستفيد ولا زول. جنوب ده بكفينا كلنا. الليلة أنا ممكن أكون عندي منظمة في الركن ده، بابا تكون عندها منظمة بتاعها هنا في النص، وبرضه مع مظاهر تكون عندها منظمة بتاعها، وإحنا نشتغل أنا أسأل مرة نجحت كيف؟ تقولي ليه؟ لأنه الناس ممكن تقلق. وامبارح برضه يكلمنا عن الوسائل بتاعت التواصل الاجتماعي. خلي الناس يعرفوا، خلي الناس يعرفوا بتعمل شنو. لو أصلا قاعد تعمل حاجة كويس بيسحب، بيسحب. في مش بيقولوا النور، الشمع. لما تشيل الشمع انت بتحطه في الترابيزه صح؟ انت ما بتحطه تحت الترابيزه، بتحطه فوق عشان يولع بيه. فخلي الشغل يكون معكوس بحاجه اللي انت قاعد تعملها. فالفرصه الثاني انا هدي جروب نمبر 2 هو ناس كريستين، ناس الولايات. انتوا جاهزين؟ كريستين ده ناس الولايات. Christine, are you ready? Please come forward. And if you could do it on bullet points, you have 10 minutes to speak, and then we'll have 5 minutes for questions. The first group of ladies, do you guys think she did a good job? The right is not Christine and the team of Mr. Confidence, and everybody else, you all did a good job. Mr. Confidence is Mr. Kelly. He's a fine young gentleman, as you can see, very confident, and I like that. So thank you to all of you. Okay, we are sorry, it was not sent, the network was not working, but what she will do, she will tell us what the achievements were, what are the strategies, why is there a disconnect, is question number 3, and question number 4 was similar to question number 3. So you talk and we'll listen. How about that? And you go on point. You have it here? Okay, that's it. You tell us. All right, here you go.
Can you give a round of applause, please?
Let me just say one thing. We don't know what you did, so if you do something wrong, we will not know. Okay? So just go ahead and do your thing.
This is a group 2 from the States. I kindly request my group members if they can stand up, just wave so that we know whom we work with. Thank you so much. Sorry that I struggled to send, but the network could not allow. The achievement for group 2, the state's achievements, the first one is introduction, the 5 states in group 2, Central Equatoria, Western Equatoria, Eastern Equatoria, Weng Administrative Area, and Jonglei. The national and the state women achievement. The first is both national and the state lobbied for increase of 35%, which is our strong achievement. Women have given a space at high-level discussion on the decision-making process. It's also one of our achievements. Women have monthly forum meeting to bring peaceful coexistence. Women states unify to bring peace dialogue at grassroots is also our achievement. Women raise awareness on harmful traditional practices and children's rights to education and prevent early marriage. It's also one of our achievements. Training of women on livelihood activities such as tailoring, mechanical training, small-scale business, handcraft, and adding value chain to our activities is also one of our achievements. And then exhibition of women products, as we can see behind there. In the morning, we were having women showcasing whatever we are doing as our achievement as women. A teamwork on radio talk show to reduce violence against women and girls. It has been our achievement as women. That women conducted awareness on reproductive health rights. Women's voice has been documented as achievement to women at high level. Organized dialogue of child compensation. Women have been emphasizing on that. At least there is a little bit of change because it's not like before. Though it is there, but not to a high level. And then reasons to why women disconnect between national and state CSOs. One reason is lack of cooperation on activity implementation. National CSOs involve state CSOs only for mobilization. What we mean here is what disconnects us is that once the national CSOs goes on ground, the only task that they give to us is go and mobilize for us women, rather than engaging us or subcontracting us such that we can also do the implementation of the activities and render to them the report. Because we have to learn from them. As we learn from them, our learning process should not be just a mobilization process. No trust from the national CSOs to the state CSOs is also another issue whereby the trust we made here was, as I've already explained, that because of the donor policy, they are very restricted that if we give, we start contracting this national grassroots state organization, maybe they will not do much. And then poor coordination and networking exists between national and state CSOs. In most cases, we the states we get information late, while the people at the national level, the states, the national CSOs have already gone ahead if it's a development of the proposal, call for proposal. And other opportunities, it comes late to their states. That's why we say there's a disconnect between us and the national. Decision making are taken at the national on behalf of the state CSOs. In most cases, there are decisions being taken from here if it is a voice to raise on behalf of the CSOs. Consultations are not made. It's only that we will have that the national CSOs have advocated on behalf of the CSOs, while they did not really engage us in taking our decisions. And then no update from the national CSOs to the state CSOs in issues connecting citizens or women. Increase, question number 3, which says increase of civic engagement of national CSOs and state CSOs. Our increase is building a strong relationship by create quarterly forum meeting on Zoom to listen to both state and national on issues affecting the CSOs. To increase our engagement again is create civil society exchange learning visit, whereby state CSOs at least can move from state to state to learn from each other, or they can go outside the country to also learn from each other and bring back the changes to the states as well as the nation. National CSOs should provide technical support on financial management, proposal writing, And the reporting mechanisms. This is it's also something that can connect us and increase our engagement with the national and also the state CSOs. Question number 4, strengthening cooperation between grassroots and national CSO organizations to advance gender equality in promotion of peace. Here we say flow of information between grassroots and national on gender equality and peace. There should be a flow of information. Like for instance, we heard of a GBV court, which is not even in most of the states. For instance, the state where I came from, we don't have that GBV court, as we don't have it. And then when it happens, they just treat it traditional, and the traditional leaders just preside over the case. That's why we are emphasizing on flow of information between the grassroots and the national on equality and peace. Conducting training to grassroots women to raise awareness on peaceful coexistence. Establish national forum monthly meeting linked to the states. The strategies, which is our last question, we have come with a bullet point. We didn't do it as the previous presenters. The bullet point is here as our strategies. Create a strong CSO forum and share with the states. Establish focal persons on the states for coordination. Engage on media outreach to advance gender equality. Capacity building to grassroots CSOs on project proposals. Grassroots engaged in cluster meeting to echo the voices. Organize donor conference that brings CSOs from the states. Subcontract the grassroots CSOs. Create a task force that can help protect human rights, including women's rights. Task force to report on violence against women and girls, to share reports. Organize conferences to traditional leaders to negative cultural reforms. It's very important when we talk about the negative cultural behaviors or social norms that affects women progress. That's why it's one of our strategies that it could be better to organize a conference to the traditional leaders for negative cultural reforms that hinders women progress. Advocate for marriageable age for school girls. Here we have realized that in most cases, yes, we know that above 18 years is eligible, is an adult. But now here comes a question whereby for the girls, she may reach 18 years and she wanted to continue with the education, and they said she's above the age, she's due to be married, and she wanted to continue with her educations. So this is our one of the strategy that we have come out with. Establish a GBV courts in all the states and make it functional. Engage women on civic education for electoral process. Prepare for peaceful election and repatriation of refugees. Lastly, we have our contacts. We have Mary, we have Agnes, we have Christine, we have Trey, we have Yanwood, Garank. The presenter is Christine Joseph Bazande. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Christine. I have 5 minutes. Out of the 5 minutes, 3 minutes I will give for questions, or if anybody from the group thinks there is anything that has been left out, can be added. So please, the important points that she has made, I will interpret them into Arabic, and then we will let the questions be asked. Okay? من ضمن الحاجات اللي هي قالته بالجروب نمرة 2، نمرة 1 إنه يكون في سلام بين الناس، وبرضه في تدريب اللي هي عملته. أنا هقول حاجات اللي ما الجروب الأول ما قال. في تدريب اللي هم عملوه مثلا عن الأعمال اليدوية، زي قبل صباح أختي قبل أتم كان عندها سوسو أنا أخذت منها، والأخت برضه كي جي استعلى كي جي أخذت السوسو من أختنا أتم، فبيعملوا معارض للأعمال اليدوية، وبرضه أختي هنا برضه شاركت يعني أخذت برضه منها، فهم بيعملوا معارض. وأنا بتخيلي the entrepreneur group, where are you? She was here earlier, Mana Sajam. They usually do a monthly entrepreneurship program where they showcase the businesses of the women. And I remember in 2021, in November when I came, I went and attended it. And it was great because they had different businesses. سؤال نمرة 2 بقول إنه ما في تعاون بين المنظمات مثلا هنا وفي الغرف، مثلا ما في صغة من الناس اللي بدوا الدعم، ما في تواصل اجتماعي مثلا بين المعلومات عشان تصل، وبعض مرات في آخر دقائق. طبعا في الناس اللي بيشتغلوا فنانين مثلا زي كده last minute people، يبقى في آخر لحظة بتمشي تعمل زحمة لزول مثلا في الولايات، خلاص الزمن بتاعك انتهى، داير تقدم برنامج بتاعك، بتيجي تقول له خلاص نعمل ده نعمل ده، ادهم فرصة عشان يجهزوا نفسهم ويتكلموا مع بعض. نمرة 2 هم عايزين، هم بيقولوا انه بعض مرات الناس بياخدوا قرار نيابة عنهم وهم ما في شيء. كويس؟ السؤال نمرة 3 هم طالبين انه يكون في زوم كل 3 شهور، يكون في تدريب يديلهم مثلا الحاجات بتاعت التكنولوجي يكون موجود، يكون في تواصل تحت المعلومات، مثلا زي امبارح كانوا في محكمة بكون في بتاع جي بي في كويس؟ ده في ولايات لسه ما في، القضايا بقوم بحلوه بطريقة بلدية. فالمعلومة ده كويس إنه إحنا سميناه كريستين you take it للناس في ولايات بتاعهم وروهم إنه يا جماعة حقوق بتاعنا بقى فيه، محكمة بتاعنا بقى فيه. وبرضه يكون في مثلا شهريا الناس تجتمع بطريقة معينة، ناس CSO يقوموا يتفقوا، يكون في زول واحد هم بيختاروا عشان يكون زول بتاع التواصل معهم بالتواصل الاجتماعي. برضو يعلموا الناس كيف يكتبوا الطلب بتاع الدعم كويس. يكون في تدريب بتاع الناس الكبار في الغرف. حاجة ده مهم خالص يا اخواني ويا اخواتي، لانه لما انا كنت في الخرطوم انا كنت حضرت التدريب بتاع العادات الضاره كويس، اللي هو ختان بتاعت النساء. As we all know, female genital mutilation, it was very common in the north, and I had attended the training for bad traditional practices. And it's very important because I was the director of the fistula unit in Khartoum Teaching Hospital. A lot of young girls had fistulas and they were divorced. This would have been prevented if they were not circumcised. So all these bad traditional practices where women are exposed to violence. Yesterday I was talking to somebody and a young girl had called and said, I don't feel safe. Well, she was beaten and she was in the hospital. is happening here in Juba. So you can imagine, I know مثلا في قرية بتاعنا لما البيت يرفض راجل يقوم بشيله وفضله في مويه عشان يغرق، وفي بنات ماتوا بطريقة ده لأنه ما في قوانين. عشان كده مهم إنه إحنا نعلم الناس الكبار في القرى عشان يعرفوا إنه يا إخوانا الدق ما هي الوسيلة الوحيدة. الناس ممكن تتكلم، يدوا النساء حرية في اختيار بتاعهم. ممكن ندي للجروب بتاع كريستين صفقة تاني. أنا تخيليه برضه جات بحاجات مختلفة من الجروب الثاني. ف time for questions now. ناس اللي قبل سألوا, you don't get a chance. Mr. Kelly, you had raised your hand earlier. Do you want to ask a different question? Okay, if it's for your own team, then no. Anybody with a question? You have asked before, so I will not pick you. Let me give a chance to somebody else. And so if there's nobody else, then I'll give you a chance. Is there anybody في أي زول عنده سؤال عايز يسأله؟ معقول؟ Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Wanisti. Just a quick question. How best can we improve our relationship with the state authorities in terms of creating civil society space at the grassroots level based on the perspective that they have presented?
How best can we increase the relationship and ta'awun between grassroots or nationals? Who wants to answer that question? And the states. You want to answer that question? All right.
Mr. Stephen, we made it very clear that by creating networking and the flow of information, because when you have the right information, you have the right coordination, you can create that space. For working, you can increase that. And everything goes with, my sister said, it's not the trust, it's who you know. And by saying the person you know, how best can you communicate with them? How best can you get your information across to them? By creating a very good networking to work with the nationals, from grassroots to the nationals. I hope you're not answering, somebody else will answer it for you. I think that is.
Thank you. Sorry, we'll try to give a chance first to the people who have not spoken, then we'll give a chance to the other so that there is no domination. Thank you. Dr. Neri?
I just want to add and to emphasize what some of our colleagues have said. The most important thing is for us to understand our context here in South Sudan. And our context here in South Sudan, we know that everything is done through relationship, full stop, like what my sister had said earlier. So if we have good network as grassroots and civil society, we know ourselves, who have contact with Mr. So-and-so in such industry. And this is the way we can go through, because this is our context. I know you, I'll support you. I don't know you, no. But not always, it's not always, because there are those people in the state, the national civil society, who are there ready to support. But as has been stated in one of the platforms, somebody said that your information is not channeled upward. It ends somewhere in between. So, but when you know somebody in context, and I think we have to make use of our context and develop our context for those whom we know, so we can achieve what we want to do. And hopefully we'll make a bigger platform or proper networking where you can go to the net and Google who's doing what and who you can contact to do such kind of service. So this is just an input.
Thank you very much. Networking. Networking is very important. I'll give you an example. When I was coming to Juba, and I said I was going to be doing wound care, I contacted her. She's my friend. They have a group on WhatsApp which is called Giants of South Sudan. She contacted them. She asked for donation. Guess what? We got the money. So it's who you know, how you get it. And this is what I always said. If I'm asking to do work for somebody else, I'm never ashamed to ask. And if I'm asking even for myself, I'm never ashamed. Okay? It is networking. When I wanted to do my passport, let me give an example too. In 2012, I said I will go and do it myself. I stood in the line at 6 o'clock. When the person came to me, he said, "Oma Halas." Really? So what I did, I said, "Hey, Moses, it's a win." He said, "I'm coming." When he came, it was made in one day. So please, network is important. Okay?
Because they know you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the great presentation offered by the two groups. Mine is checking in about the NGOs, the civil societies in South Sudan. There's so many of them, and we have to be very frank. More, if it's not thousands, it will be triple thousands. All these, some of them actually are dormant. They are not doing anything. They are there, but when their funding coming or there's some work that is to be done, these are the first people who will be flooding. Okay? These are the very first people who will start complaining. These are the people who will say there is no funding. This, because they know who is who. So what I would like, especially those who are in the States, if you can organize yourself through the, I don't know whether there's a ministry there for whatever, association, you register there. Because I'm in Cuba. In the state, yes. So if you register there, then be in the contact all the time. Because yes, I'm based in Juba, and I did an NGO who is supposed to be working in my village, who is down in the villages there, okay? But I'm only taking the name. But when it comes to the implementation, I'm not available. But I'm the first one to shout because I know everybody. No, we want to be honest. We want those people who are working actually in the grassroots. These are the people, if they do WhatsApp group, they do newsletter. These are some of the, networking that they can create, especially the newsletter. You don't need to print, but do it and send it on WhatsApp if it is possible. Because there's so many WhatsApp groups now working in South Sudan. Do it, network. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Yar. Mr. Kelly has a question.
It's not actually a question, but I'm just very, very, very mad, especially with the international agencies. I will not mention names because I know them individually. You'll find the national NGOs are doing a donkey work on the ground, under pressure, and then when you don't send a report, they'll start abusing you, don't have capacity, you don't have, but yet you need to move almost for 8 hours to access your activity to get the report. And they tell you you're not doing anything. And for them, they're sitting in the AC. They're getting $8,000, $10,000, and for you, you're getting $200, and you have to work hard for it. And then at the end of the day, when someone says, please give me funding, they say you don't have capacity. I find this one so ambiguous and so barbaric indeed. When somebody is working for you, you should appreciate the effort that they're putting in. If you do not see they don't have capacity, come in, mentor them, build their capacity. so that they can deliver what you want, you know. And then if you don't do that, instead of you insulting somebody, I had one of the NGOs, international NGOs, asking a partner that you are good for nothing. I said, look at this one, really? And until when that national NGO rejected the funding from that particular donor, you know. So at the end of the day, the issues of funding, it becomes a challenge. But as we say, we must be organized. Let the blame not come to us because we don't have capacity. Do what you can. Okay? If you know for sure that you cannot do something, you still have the liberty to hire somebody who's professional to do for you the work. I've always told people, work smart, don't work with the strength and energy. And say, okay, I have a national NGO now, I'm the director. Let me bring my sister, my mother, my auntie, my cousin, my nephew. Let them all work. And you find they are sitting there putting their legs to the table, they are Facebook and the internet. And then at the end of the day, they don't come and say, okay, my report, where is it? Question now start asking. You go to your cousin or wherever it is there, they're not doing anything. At the end of the day, they don't say you have not done the work, they take the funding. So let them also find us that at least we are trying to do something. Instead of you bringing all your family to do nothing, employ somebody who has experience and capacity to do the work, so that you can have reports, you can have documentation in place, you can have the knowledge of what's happening on the ground at that particular moment. Right now, if I ask one of the national NGOs there, tell us where you are working, call your staff and tell us what is happening on the ground. They will tell you, I don't know, you wait in the evening. This is the reality. So at the end of the day, don't say funding is given to so and so. It is true. People are giving funding to their mothers, to their sisters, to their cousin, to their girlfriend, to their boyfriend. This is the reality of the fast. You know, the truth must be said. But at the end of the day, never lose hope. Keep doing what you do. At least God is going to help you and drink for you. Someone is going to support you. So let's continue. I think this is a very good initiative for us all to attend this conference so that at least this kind of issues can be ironed out. And we should put it at the back of their knowledge that these days funding is about technical know-how, not know-how. It's not about the well-laid proposal that you put in place. No. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. You have raised an important point. I will speak as somebody who works overseas. I work in the US. And let me tell you, if I compare the number of hours we put in there, احنا بنقول انه لما يدوك الدولار بكون لفوق تعرف لما تلف قماش لما when you squeeze it شفت الدولار بتطلعه منك قلب. You work. There is accountability. Right? So, yes, I agree that there are NGOs that are not working. But for all of you who are here, be honest with yourself and with God. A few days ago, I went to Konyakone. They are women. I buy from them beads. Last April, beads like this, and maybe smaller. I bought them for 11,000. When I went to them this time, they said, "Come so Shireen Alf." I looked at them and I said, "Wow." They said the beads have become expensive. Dollar. I looked at her and I wanted to say, "I was but the dollar." Okay? Lakin, I told them why. I told them I come to you to support you. Yahuda fi dukan بتاعت الغرابي ده السوق سوق ده ب 19 وب 17 و15 وانتي اختي ده تبيعوا لي ب 25. So just look at the irony here. أنا قلت لهم ربنا بقى ما في. And then we are all complaining. We are all complaining. Things are wrong. So let us start with ourselves. Let us be the change. Let us change the mentality. Do the right thing. Somebody once said, even if the boss is not watching, you do your best. Even if the boss is not working and it's not there, you do your best. Who is watching you? Sir? God is watching you. And do it for your own conscience. Do your best. Sidney Poitier once said, work in anything that you do. If you are a cleaner, clean the place and be grateful you have a job. If you are the director in the organization, be grateful and do the job well. Respect, treat people with respect wherever you go. So I will not do another lecture. I will call group 3. Group 3, before I call them, Ms. Barbara, my co-host here, has a question and I will let her call group 3. Come on, my dear.
Thank you, Dr. Abba. I just want a little bit clarification from group 2. In one of the achievements, they say that introduction of 5 states. Can you clarify that? The first achievement.
It's not an achievement, it's that the group move.
That one was not an achievement. It's we were introducing ourselves as the 5 states which come together.
All right, thank you. Thanks so much. Now I call upon group 3 to come and present. Group 3 is the group of Wani. Is Wani available? Wani? Where is he? You're welcome. I give you 15 minutes. Okay.
Thank you. I think even the parliament said the proceedings for 15 minutes. But I'll ask for your indulgence if you can give us an extra minutes to that. Because we want to discuss the big matter.
The speaker.
Yes. Tell me, Madam Speaker. Can we have our presentation? Yes, thank you. I think the first thing is psychology. Culture plays a very great role in terms of human sociology aspect. That's why you see the group 3, smile from the morning. That's what we have. Can we go to slide number 2? But before I go for that, I want group 3. Group 3, can you raise up your hand to see where you? Thank you so much for your contribution. I think most of the discussions, most of the commonality that has been discussed. We look at the achievement of civil, the achievement that has been done or been achieved by the engagement of the civil society in South Sudan. We look mostly in terms of peace implementation. When the war began in 2013 and then later in 2016, we have seen how much civil society has invested in terms of engaging, in terms of dialogue, in terms of peace implementation, in terms of alliance building, to really see that peace is signed, the agreement is signed. That is credit to the civil society organization. And we look at civic obligations and constitutional mandate. Our past history, our geopolitical system in this country stands at the feet of the civil society. 1, constitutional making process. 2, independence. We have seen how much the civil society have invested in terms of mobilization during the referendum. That is everything that we should not question about in terms of the achievement that has been done by the civil society organization. 2, we look at aspect of human rights and respect to rule of law. a lot as we work as watchdogs, whistleblowers, to the voiceless in terms of impunity, in terms of corruption, in terms of human rights abuse, civil society who are working within the human rights defenders that have done a great job in terms of advocating for human rights, respect, the rule of law. It's our constitutional mandate and obligation to say that every citizen is treated equal. Good governance. It's very imperative and very important that we have seen the South Sudan today stands because of the effort of the civil society organizations in this country. Truth must be said. If it comes to election, if it comes to transparency, if it comes to allocation, despite the other gaps, despite their challenges, a lot has been done when it comes to issue of governance. People talk about election. We have seen the transition in terms of election. That is a good test. That is a legitimate test after our during our time of election. Civil society have engaged in terms of saying we have representatives from all our counties, both at the state level, the national parliament, our geographical representations. All that comes as a result of equal participation in terms of political space. And because of that, civil society have engaged with different political parties. We know we live in multi-politic politics in South Sudan. Issue of corruption, I've mentioned that. We have seen a lot of issue of dollar saga that has happened in this country. Civil society have tried their best to see that this still need to be questioned, that in future, when we have a good accountability mechanism, that people who have embezzled public funds need to be brought to book. And still we keep on watching the space until we had our players. Advocate on freedom of expression, opinion, and association. We have seen a lot of step on the citizens of this country, who are the senior owners of this country, that they need to speak, they need to associate, their opinion needs to be respected. Civil society have looked into this to see that it's very important for you to talk to your LP, to talk to the president, that we need service. When during independence, when people advocated during referendum, everyone was given the opportunity to speak because it is our rightful determination. And it's because of that the civil society stood off to say that stand. Our constitutional rights, given freedom of association, despite their gaps that still affect our free association in the country. We talk aspect of peace and security engagement in promoting social and economic security in the country. We have seen the South Sudan Women Coalition Network during the implementation of the peace agreement, dialogue, and mediation process, how much the women group have really helped in terms of saying that women participation in the peace agreement is evident. The evidence that we're seeing now, the indicators that we're seeing now, is the leadership that we're seeing in all these ministries. The Minister for Defense. There's one indicator that women have proved within the civil society aspect that women must be included in peace and security sector. Increased advocacy on gender. Let me tell you this. When you talk about gender, it's not necessarily women, it's both male and female. And let's take it in aspect of policy. When you talk about gender equality, we need to look at how best can we do gender mainstreaming in terms of the perspective, in terms of the policies that we have. We have South Sudan Vision 2040. I'm sure there are few people that have learned about that Vision 2040. We have seen the Sustainable Development Goal 2030. We have seen African Vision 2063. We have seen our strategic government framework. How much did we mainstream gender equality in those framework. That is the aspect that we need to take in as civil society, as partners in saying gender equality is paramount. The other thing that we need to see, academia is very important. How much do we engage with the academia, the private universities, the public universities that we have in this country, in terms of saying there are curriculums that need to be developed to study specifically gender aspect in the country, because it becomes a policy. These institutions, they are instruments to advise our strategic measure in terms of what we see. Capacity building, awareness on peace and security, UN Security Council Resolution 1325, 2030. A lot. African, all these charters are meant to say that we engage international or globally in terms of aspect of peace. And we have done that and we have really proven that. And most of the key, there are a lot of awards given to some of the South Sudanese that really participated when it comes to aspect of peace and security. There are awards that have been given. I'm so proud of some of them and everyone. Strengthening national education policy at national level, state through incentive packages. This aspect of advocating for girls' education or boy child and girl child education has been a rollout of civil society, because there are thematic areas that are others in education, others in health, others in the rule of law, others in constitutional making process. So this aspect I've seen a lot of bringing in below some time. In one of the schools where we did campaign, the number of children in that particular ID camp is now shooting. That means there is that aspect of ownership that the community has taken in terms of civil society engagement. So that is the key indicator. And there is only problem that we can solve the problem in South Sudan. It's education. That is very important. Participation of women in peace, that's we have ironed that. Peace and security policy framework. We have seen a lot of engagement in terms of framework development by the civil society. Policy making and research publication. For us to be known, our activities to be known, we need to engage in knowledge development, information development, to see how relevant our engagement in terms of the global geopolitics of civil society, in terms of policy making, in terms of information dissemination. That has been relevant. Recently, I've seen a publication that was done by, I've forgotten the name of the organization. It was, I think, Jacqueline presented. I'm not so sure, I've forgotten the title. But those are important things that we need to enter into academia knowledge development. Monitoring of peace agreement. When the roadmap or the census was done, everyone was saying we're not part of this agreement, where it was not inclusive, it was not. Not until a public dialogue has to come in. When it comes to peace, there's always win-win. Engaging with the partners, we are partners. The 24 months extension, we need to be part of it, we need to monitor, and we have done that. That means it's very instrumental for the civil society to continue monitoring the peace process. I'm very proud yesterday when someone called me from Owinkipool that were named the peace and security civil society organization when they talk about the unification of the forces. We are graduating the unified forces in Owinkipool and Torit. I say, wow, that's good, thank you so much. Those are the contributions that people wanted to hear from you. Good governance, transparency and accountability. Governance in terms of how humanitarian or donor fraternities should also operate, it's very important for the civil society to check. Because we need to transform this country. We need to do indexing of all donors, so that all the thematic area that we are doing in this country factor into the interest of that particular donor. Not every donor will fund the activity. Now, response to humanitarian emergency and pandemic in South Sudan, we have seen during the COVID how much the civil society have invested in terms of responding to awareness and public engagement. I remember due to public, we said hate speech. On our campaign of COVID, we were the first people to do this, to do mobile awareness to almost all the counties in Eastern Equatoria. I remember the day we reached Toriti, some people ran away from us. That's because we came from Juba, and that's where COVID is. What we did was, we said, okay, let's start campaigning on hate speech. And that is the first thing we did. And after 1 week, the whole scenario changed. That is very important. Political participation and representation in politics, life skills, empowerment, this has been echoed by other group members. Collaborative partnership with international organizations, yes, this is very necessary. Increase awareness on early and first marriage at state level. This has been mentioned. Girl education has been mentioned. When we talk about question number 2, we look at gap analysis or disconnect between the civil society at the national and the grassroots level. Insecurity is one of the aspects. For other civil society not to engage with the grassroots partners. Inaccessibility in some of the areas, yes, that is proven by the geographical space that we have in the country. Others are flooded, and we know the operation of other civil society due to mobility. It's very difficult for them to connect. We look at political interference, civil society space sinking. It's not imbalance, that imbalance of power in terms of civil society operation. Capacity gaps in terms of the institutional policy and management for some of the civil society or community-based organizations or faith-based organizations. These are evidence. Other civil society have the best structure systems that can be entrusted for funding. So it's very important that we also need to learn from one another. We share, we mentor each of us among us civil society. For example, AlterNet, the organization that I work with, there are many organizations that also we support in terms of capacity development, mentorship, in terms of when it comes to proposal development, institutional organization development. We support many civil society organizations. So let's try to support each other in terms of our capacity strengthening. We look at question number 3, which look at increased civic engagement between the national civil society organization and grassroots civil society organization. The aspect of coordination, collaboration between the national and grassroots civil society organization that has been mentioned. I cannot go further. Strengthening capacity building and institutional framework, such as lobbying and resource mobilization. That is very important. In resource mobilization, we always need to keep it harder. Both networking, collaboration, alliance building, partnership. These are all aspects that you need to do in resource mobilization. And make sure that you have a very strong communication fraternity that will help you in pushing for branding, visibility of what you do. That is very important. Stakeholders engagement. For us to increase our space, we need to work with government institutions, their partners. We need always to make sure that we increase our engagement. They are not our enemies, they are partners. They need to understand the reason why we are doing the work and why we need them to support us. Networking, that has been issued. Increase awareness on the role of civil society out of here. Question 4, we talk about strengthening cooperation. It's almost the same modality that we have in terms of increasing civic space. Information sharing, joint and consortium projects, and activity implementation is very important. Exit visits or study tour or programs is very important for us to strengthen our cooperation. Improve communication and organization branding at national or grassroots level. That is very important for us to do that. Question number 4, which will look at issue of strategic plan. Of course, when you talk about strategic plan, it's an approach. What you put down to say our aspiration, our vision, our mission, the philosophy behind our organization or our activity is very important. Once you have that, it will be a platform for you to now to see where to move, where to start, and how to engage. Who do I go with? There are partners, there are civil society who goes to partners that do not have, who do not support health. You go to a donor that support peace and security, and here you have a health program project. So you need to do mapping, donor mapping. That strategic plan gives you an understanding who you are, what capacity do you have, what can we do, what problems are we addressing, what difference do we want to make, what critical issues must we respond to, where should we allocate resources, what should our priority be. You cannot run like a free, let me say, a drone, but a drone is even controlled. So you need to identify your programs. Not every program you venture in, what your person has is very important as a civil society organization. As one of your strategies you need to look at. Our strategy for question 4, question 5. Okay, thank you. That's why I give that approach as our speaker. Strategic plan, focusing on civil society impact on effective and inclusiveness in advocating for gender equality and developmental partners as a contribution to the means of implementation of gender equality affirmative action. It's in the constitutions. But how much did you integrate this in all the institutions in the country? You'll let me know. Paving ways towards robust national civil society engagement to consolidate effort toward the realization of gender equality among partners at the national and state level. Articulating approach to private sector engagement is very important. As civil society, private sector are very important in terms of engagement and our partnership. So we should be able to engage with the private sector. Within our strategic plan, we look at action points, we look at what time frame do we have for this. We need to look at the context at which we are having this, where we're going to operate. Of course, our strategic plan should define our mission, vision, values, principles, others will say tier of change, what impact will have, a strategic policy objective and successful indicators. Like, what are you going to do? What are you expecting from the activities that you're doing? It's very important for you to. And a strategic organizational goal that will become a driving force. Engaging with civil society engagement, securing civil society sits in important national and grassroots platform for effective development and cooperation. It's very important for us to continue engaging in platforms that drives our agenda. Beyond the organizational capacity of each platform to conduct advocacy and research on the role of civil society participation in policy making. Engaging civil society and advocating for inclusive in policy and decision-making process. Those are our strategies that we have. Amplifying voice of civil society, advocating for people space-centered development. Sustaining effort of civil society to work on their own development effectiveness. It's you to develop the capacity of the organization through a strategic framework. In the next 3 years, where do you want to see yourself? What type of staff do you want to see? What kind of leadership do you want to see in the organization? What structure do you need to put in place for lobbying and mobilization of resources? Stakeholders engaging. How do you intend to engage with the stakeholders? It's very important for us to develop that as civil society organization. Forging alliance, consortium, collaboration in joining coordination or implementation of key agendas is very important. As strengthening our governance in terms of group, can also look at how we can work towards strengthening our governance, structure in the organization is relevant and sustainability. How do you intend to be relevant in the space? And sustainability, how do you intend to sustain the organization in terms of programming, to make our communications more accessible, broaden our collaboration with the wider civil society community and other stakeholders, ensuring gender perspectives are sufficiently addressed in all platforms of our engagement. Integrate cross-cutting issues, not only gender. You talk of GBV, you talk of climate change, you talk of social economic empowerment, you talk of governance, you talk of policy making process. There are so many, because we have taken really much time, and I just wanted to say these are the smiles and evidence of the group participations that we have. And I just wanted to say thank you for your support and giving me that opportunity. I love these two pictures. The next picture, please. Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Sarah is coming next. Thank you.
Thank you, Wadi. Thank you, Group 2. Group 3. Thank you so much. That was brilliant. Let us give them 1, 2, 3.
One big one. Just one. 1, 2, 3.
It's okay, it's okay. I know I saw some of our members sleeping. When he was giving us a lot of big words, English words. English, they can teach you much stuff. أنا بحاول نعم كويس مش أنا بحاول أراجع بالذات لناس ماما الجايين من كبار ومن ولايات اللي بيتكلم بعربي بس عربي ضعيف كمان شوية كده أنا بتكلم بعربي جوا في الليلة يوم النجادة اتكلمنا عن المجتمع المدني منظمات المجتمع المدني فإحنا تكلمنا عن إنجاز achievements الصعوبات اللي هم بيلقوا في منظمات دي فزي كلام جروبس الكلام الثلاثة دي هم بيقول الإنجاز الأول هم لقوا إنه مشاركة المدنية في تنفيذ السلام يعني كل المنظمات عملوا ده لقوا إنه في ناس شاركوا في تنفيذ السلام. إننا موافقين في الكلام ده؟ نمرة 2 هم برضه بيقول ووجود بتاع المنظمات دي في نسبة بتاع حقوق إنسان. Are we in agreement of that? The human rights. والثاني بيقول إنه في مراقبة بتاع الفساد المعارضة. فديس that watchdog on corruption. متفقين؟ حاجة الثاني برضو الحريات التعبير freedom of expression. So المنظمات دي خلى الناس يعرفوا حقوق بتاعهم في الحتات دي. الصعوبات هم قالوا إنه في عدم السلام في الحتات هم شغالين فيهم. الثاني إنه عشان الناس لازم to improve on that لازم يكون في شبكة معرفة networking لازم يكون في أنا شلت حاجات معينة أنا ما بقدر أتكلم زي باقي جماعة إنجليزي كتير وعربي كتير so I'm just trying to summarize so networking ده أهم شيء بالذات مع الحكومة ومشاركة بارتنرز التانيين. ففي أي سؤال ولا زيادة في ده especially group 3 في زول داير يسأل؟ Any question or clarifications? Machine النوم مش أهم.
Okay, thank you so much. And people are not asking questions. I think Wani was maybe he provided so comprehensive stuff. The first point I saw of the achievements. I don't know whether Aisha can go back there. I want to ask a question on that, but that question was later answered, and it's more on women representation because the question says, what are some of the major achievements that the civil society organizations have achieved at the national or grassroots levels, especially on women-related agendas? So we have a problem, which problem is more on representation. So you find that people nowadays are taking representation as a serious thing because we know, like, if we have a workshop like this, we're like, okay, we need 35 women representation, right? But is that what we are looking for? Yeah, the representation is okay, but we need meaningful participation. Okay? So I like the way the facilitators are doing here because they are able to give everyone opportunity to participate. And I think that should be what us as civil society we should be looking at. We should make sure that even when we go to the grassroots community, we should devise ways of making sure that even if our women or girls have not studied, but they are able to participate, even during workshops like this, give them opportunities to air out their concerns. Even if we might be having difficulties in languages, let them use the local languages and we can have translators. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona Aite. Any other addition or clarification? Can you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Kim again. I'm a member of Group 3 that Wani had just finished presentation. And I would like to add 2 key points on the presentations that he made. First, it is in regards to good governance. I think one of the, of the very, very key issue here is the structure of governance and the oversight roles that make it possible for transparency and the reduction of corruption. And this can also be linked with our work as civil society organizations because we want to discourage the practice of, giving support to civil society on the basis of what we know and not on the basis of what role they play at the grassroots level. The second thing is the linkages that we are trying to build in terms of the local government partnership with the civil society organizations. I think this is very important. And we look at here I want to emphasize on the development programs that is gender responsive. And these should be supported by the civil society organizations, the local authorities or the practitioners at the local level must be supported by the civil society organizations in their development programs so that now we can have a very meaningful implementation of gender responsive programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. There's one thing I admire in this workshop is that all of us here we'll go back with something new.
My name is Salma Abdul Hamid. I have few things here to add. أنا بتكلم عربي عشان يقدر يلقى. ففي حاجات يعني أننا قاعدين نشوفه قاعد يحصل في المجتمع حقتنا. فأول كلمة فيه قال leave no one behind. يعني نحن منظمات بتاع المساوين يعني تجي نقول استراتيجيك يعني في محلات كتير كلمة اللي بيقولوا قال هو كلمة ده أنا بسمع يعني شوية كان الناس بيسيبوا لأنه it is just like a part of corruption. يعني في organizations تانيين هم بدوا فترة جديد هم بيحاولوا كيف هم بكتب proposals women led organizations بكتب proposals لكن لحد هسه هم ما بلقى دعم. فهناك علاقات بيقولوا قال لازم بيكون في cooperation وفي coordination relationship بقى يعني في منظمات انت بتلقوا هم بيكون في forums اللي هم بيدخلوا فوق هم بيكونوا علاقات لكن كان في الزمن proposal they write proposal but when it has come to reality تبلغوا ما حزلهم في proposal يعني نحن national organization اللي كنت قال أنا جي اشتغل مع ناس القدام يلا بقى ناس الجداد دي البدا women led organization توم الجداد بكتوم بقى في أتومها كان أو كتب proposal تو قال لا أنا بس جي اشتغل مع ناس القدام ده question الأول أنا بعمله كيف عشان كيف أنا بقدر أسيبه كلامات دي فنمرة اثنين أنا بقول في تغيير كتير a lot of achievements years back and this year يعني من سنة حتى السلام وسنين ورا يعني تجيني بقى بحاجات كتير يعني they run after cows sending their child or girls early for early marriage which is not good but nowadays if you can see women they are leading and أنا بقول ألف مبروك للأمهات للبنات يعني أنا أنسى قلت في governments يعني في وزراء يتبلغون ساوي زمان كان حاجات دي ما في طبعا بالنسبة لنا قال تبارك ساكت لكن هسه أنا بقول قالوا في improvement زي في مدارس هسه بزيدوا قال في بنات قلقوا incentive كتير يلا جاي improve promotion للبنات لأنه منعرف قال يلا حاجة كده نكون into gender based violence because we are talking on both sides men and female كلنا أي طريقة كيف لأولاد دي لأنه هسه بروج برودين البنات وأولاد بكمبلين أي بنات بيجيبوا بنات براو ولين أولاد ذنب بتاعنا شنو ما أصلا بروج كان بيقسموا سوا لبنات ولا أولاد so كلنا work hard hand in hand so that at least we make sure that our children will not go to street and we're boys and girls so all of them will be educated. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the inputs. I was trying to say something. إحنا ماشيين من هنا ده therefore say no علمنا كتير. إحنا كان غرباء إحنا كريجا في states ولا إحنا عندنا منظمات حقتنا we have to go مع أرقام عملنا exchange هنا عملنا contacts عشان شنو كان زولا في unity ده مولانا إحنا بدو لنا تليفون. We need these connections to be active. Okay? And that's how we can be strong and not go in when na biraba. Boys, otherwise, do we have other inputs? Okay, Dr. Neni.
What I want to say is that we've been talking about funding, and this is a very crucial part of our projects or whatever program that we want to make. I've been working with an organization for about 8 months, and it's called Life Abundance, and they work with grassroots people. And the thing is, most of us, we tend to look also for funding outside, which is also important.
and funding within. But at the grassroots, we have something. Nobody can sit at the level of the grassroots that they cannot contribute to whatever program they're doing if they have the ownership. Because if at the grassroots they own whatever program that they are giving, and anybody can give something. Because if we're going to look for donors and outside donors, like what we see, we sometimes will not get access to it. One, so we have to look at our own potential, but especially those who are owning the activities or the program, whatever kind of activity they are producing. Secondly, we have also to start looking in our society, in our community, in our families and friends members, those who do have. We have people, we have organizations, we have business women, we have people within our Southern Sudanese population. So we have to start knocking at their doors. We have to start looking among our people, those who have. So I think it's time we have to not stop, but we have to limit our focus looking outside. We have friends, we have relatives, we know business people, Sudanese men and women who can support also these kind of activities. So I think it's one of the ways now we can mobilize these resources by looking in our community, those who have to support us. So we have our grassroots members, the community we're serving, they can provide, people in our community, around us, friends, relatives, our connection, they can provide us, and then we can go to international organizations, governments, and so forth. So we have a big opportunity, and we have a very big platform for us to search and get funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nemi. Actually, we have to make use of our own resources, of our own community, and that's where I'm coming from. That's my specialization, community involvement. Malaysia jama anda ko dile wahda sana ko radi ko lunch din na on bari mande ka halas arabi
Good afternoon, all of you. Yeah, first thing I want to explain myself. I'm Veronica Nyanude Dario from Warab State, capital Kwajab. But I'm coming from county called Kwije State, Mayadi. أنا بتكلم بالعربي. السؤال بتاعي بحكي ورا الكلام بتاعي. أنا في حاجة بسيطة أنا ما فهمت من الكلام بتاعي. المشكلة بتاعت نتورك. أنا بسأل هنا النتورك ده القاعدة ده نتورك ده هل هيصل للولايات ولا النتورك ده بيكون في ستيت في ناشونال هنا؟ كله النتورك ده بيتحصل لنا في ولايات. أنا من المسؤولين بتاع ولايات محتاجين النتورك ده شديد. لأنه بيناتنا هسه كاونتي كله في ميادي مع بيه عندنا كرايسيس كتير حصل فيها أموات كتير بين الشباب وبين النساء وبين العيال وبين الرجال كبار والنسوان كبار. وياهم هسه الندوة ده جابنا هنا. أنا بيشكر السودان وليما ريفلكشن جروب جابنا هسه الأمانة مع بيه دي الوقت بتاع بيه. وهناك الناس بتاع كاونتي تريد ميادي ده ما قاعدين بيمشوا عبيه خالص، وبتاع عبيه ما قاعدين يتريد ميادي خالص. ده شنو ده كرايسيس كان حصل ده، ولو حصل لنا حصل ندوة بيناتنا أننا محتاجين عشان نعمل علاقة. وإنتوا ناس الناشونال هنا تمشوا زيارة برضه، تمشوا تشيل الباقي النسوان من ستيت وراء، تشيل باقي النسوان من ستيت وراء ومن الجيران بتاعنا ناس عويل والجيران بتاعنا بتاع واو تنوعنا كله. ما ممكن تودونا لأبيه عشان نعمل نتورك في أبيه، لأنه قصاير كتير بحصل بين الكاونتي بريمير يأتي دمع بيه يا حسن الجيل اللي هنا قاعدين زي الأخوان لأنه الأموال الأصل ده ما بيننا هنا النسوان بين الشباب بتاع الأبياء والشباب بتاع بريمير يعني فيعملوا التوضيح بتاع البسيط ده أنا أوريكم له وشكرا.
أنا أسلم لكم باسم ربي يسوع المسيح. أنا من أبياي وأختي من تويت ونحن ما عندنا مشكلة كده. نوضح حاجة كمان ممكن الناس يساعدونا فيه. في الناس مساوين بتاعنا القاعدين برا جنوب السودان والشباب القاعدين برا جنوب السودان هم اللي بيحركوا المشاكل الكثير ده لأنهم ما شعارين بالحاجة الحاصل جوا. يعني أنت لو مشيت في اللايف هنا لو مشيت فتحتها بتلقى زول بحرك ناس كأنه هو موجود هناك. فده ان احنا ندير لهم علاج. يعني انا ويانول ممكن نقعد نسوي كده هسه لكن يجي الزول الثاني يجي يعمل لنا حركه بتخلي الناس شكرا.
شكرا. They have raised a critical concern, and by the way, التغير ببدأ مننا. The change should start from us. إحنا ماشيين من هنا نعمل التغير ده. النتورك ده ببدأ من هنا في الولايات ومن الناشونال. فأنا مش زي ما كبرش التناغم لازم نساعد بعضنا. أنا في الناشونال وأنت في ستيتس كلنا لازم نبدأ التغير ببدأ مننا. ولكن this is the last question or clarification, then we go for lunch. شكرا لكم. And then we should not look at international partners as people who are going to give us. But we also have to look at the investors inside South Sudan. Habashina that Biolana Modi Hakana, Mobishin Majani, into Rapid Tomon, into Itihad. We go to them, they will give. They say we are one part, we have this project we want to implement. Masalan, there is a name Nadafa, there is Toria, Namshilom, Sterilana Toria, Nasala Lomo Shawara Sanbidim Moya, Bahasal Olama Bahasal. Yala, ili na zena MTN o bidaya shabde alkura kaira mustimle na khas min masal yala nas MTN amoshi musadum kurush umalana ajabu mfujuni yale nasmu musanna na nafisa. Then we have to make opportunities fanatic there. We go to them jama, we have lazima dona kurush in kind. We have our meetings, we don't have a space. Can you offer a space and water this? They can give us. That is also another way of getting from them. We have our sisters who are working in the civil service. You can go and ask them to join us. Then we put a small kitty, good for Sagaris, we are about them. So let us start with our own. I will not talk much. In Ethiopia, what they do, when they write a proposal, 90% comes from the organization and from the community they are going to serve. Only 10% comes from the donor. Only 10%. It's only bedroom munazamada or mutama. So let us think outside the box. Thank you so much. I think all of us are getting all the tips. When we go back, we are ready to support and strengthen our CSOs. Otherwise, it's time for lunch. We go, for what time is it? Okay, so we go now and we'll be back 1:30. Okay? Yeah, we still have 2 presentations and we also have a session of discussions, right? Yes. Yeah. Otherwise, nice lunch.